Talia, runaway human. December 7th, Earth year 2103. Hours had passed since our escape from the Jacovian homeworld by the time I woke back up. Whatever dreams I had bleeding away from memory as I looked at Enzo sitting beside me. "We made it," I said, halfway forcing a smile. "By the skin of our teeth, yeah." Enzo chuckled lightly, turning his attention away from the ship controls that he absolutely wasn't using, and looking upon me with relief. "It's a good thing the martyr left when it did," he continued, jostling my shoulder slightly. "Else I'd have laid a can of whoop-ass on it." "And I'd have treasured the half-second you lasted for," I quipped back, sitting up and stretching my arms above my head with a yawn. "Half a second?" "Not my worst performance," grinned my fellow stray, the joke hanging between us as we stared at each other with a shared weariness. "Would you two like me to turn off the ship's internal cameras?" Dovetail chimed in, prompting a blush to prickle across Enzo's cheeks as he no doubt realized how this moment of camaraderie looked from their perspective. Leaning away from me as though singed by my presence, Enzo tapped a few buttons on the ship's computer, pulling up Dovetail's geometric avatar. "It's not, like that," he told them, glancing back at me as though looking for rhetorical backup. "We just make a good team, that's all." I shrugged before reaching into my backpack and producing a small box of cold French fry analogs, hungrily shoving a handful of them into my mouth. As I took time to chew, the details of our escape flooded back into my awakening mind, eliciting newfound concern. "Dovetail, how can you be sure we aren't being followed?" As per usual, Dovetail didn't waste a second in replying, their avatar shifting as they spoke. "Why do you think I had to specifically calibrate the jump?" they asked rhetorically, continuing after the momentary pause. "This stretch of subspace is known as the dead warp. Ships passing through here go missing at a rate 46,000% higher than other areas of subspace. As such, all navigational algorithms have been programmed to avoid it. I overrode the algorithm so that the voyage would take us through here." "Wait, are you saying we're in the Space Bermuda Triangle?" Enzo probed, his eyes widening slightly upon the notion. "I suppose that is an adequate comparison," our benefactor affirmed, their cryptic tone unwavering in the face of Enzo's concern. The dead warp. I had heard a little bit about it a long time ago, but some of the memories stuck. It was a large area, but almost entirely empty. There wasn't a single star system that couldn't be accessed without the place, so the Council never really bothered figuring out the problem. "Do you know why ships tend to disappear here?" I asked, more curious than afraid. I'd never heard Dovetail pause for so long before. "Yes," they eventually replied. There was a certain hesitation to their voice that I'd never heard from them before. "Would you like to share with the class?" Enzo asked in an almost sing-song voice, his own expression suggesting a similar degree of interest. Again a pause. "If it is your safety you're concerned about, then rest assured you are in no danger. I understand the nature of the dead warp's danger and as such can navigate around it." "It's not that we don't trust you," I began, glancing at Enzo to indicate that my opinion was one shared between us. "It's just that I'd prefer not to be left in the dark, something you've been doing a lot. If we're safe right now, then surely you don't have to hide everything anymore." For the next minute, there was silence inside the cockpit, as Dovetail's avatar wavered wordlessly on screen. Finally, just as I was about to ask again, they spoke up. "Hundreds of years ago, before navigational algorithms were made to avoid this place, a martyr ship disappeared here." Recognition flashed through Enzo's eyes upon the mention of this. "You mean that classified martyr death? This is where it happened?" "Yes." "Okay," Enzo hummed, fidgeting with a little trinket he must have found on board. "So what killed it?" "Martyrs can't go missing. They've got so many trackers on them that the Council could pinpoint their location even in subspace. Something had to have taken it out of commission permanently." "It is my preference we do not speak on this topic any longer," Dovetail interjected, their monotone voice somehow managing to sound genuinely uncomfortable. This only made Enzo angry. "Come on," he hissed at their avatar. "Aren't we at least owed the truth?" "The time will come for the truth," Dovetail snapped back, the usual cool tone momentarily assuming a searing edge that made Enzo flinch back. "For now we need to discuss our next steps." "All right, I conceded, opting to once more place my trust in our benefactor. They'd gotten us this far, after all. Now that we're off-planet, can you at least tell us the whole plan? Immediately, a series of images flickered on screen. The first depicted some kind of facility. Before we begin our real operations against the Council, we must take their proverbial nuclear option off the table. This is Facility Beta. It is where the Council has opted to store an ancient and powerful weapon, the Doomsday Pathogen Template System. It is an AI model that can interpret the genetic material of any species, and with it design a pathogen perfectly suited to wipe them out. With this, the process of creating a species-ending virus can be streamlined from years of work to months or even mere weeks. You really think they'd use something like that on us? Enzo probed, his expression difficult to read but betraying a subtle terror beneath the surface. I do not know, replied Dovetail. Personally, I'd prefer not to give them the chance. The DPTS is being transported via a secure space convoy to a facility where it will supposedly be destroyed. Of course, I highly doubt they will actually get rid of such a useful tool. You two are going to steal the DPTS for me so that I can securely destroy it. On the one hand, Dovetail's logic made perfect sense to me. On the other, however, I wasn't sure how I felt about handing something so powerful over to someone that I didn't really know. How do we know we can trust you to actually destroy it? The question is not whether or not you trust me. The question is, who do you trust more, me or the Council? They have had hundreds of years to destroy that AI and they never did. Don't be naive. I hated that Dovetail had a point, not because I had anything against our patron in particular, but rather because when the logical decision is to hand over a doomsday weapon to someone you've never seen face to face, that usually means something in your life has gone horribly awry. Fine, we'll trust you on this one, I sighed, grabbing a water bottle from my bag and gingerly sipping upon it. What's our plan to take it? As I said, there will be a space convoy transporting the system. I calculate an 86.9% chance they will make a brief stop on the planet Thagwick. There, you will sneak past security and take it. That's it? Enzo asked, sounding downright offended by Dovetail's explanation. That's your fucking plan? That is the basics of it, Dovetail continued, seemingly unbothered by my fellow stray's outburst. Do not worry, there is much more to our plan that I will guide you both through later. Suddenly, our ship jolted heavily to one side, sending my heart up into my throat as the lights flickered off for a few seconds, leaving Dovetail's geometric avatar as the only source of illumination. Metallic groans echoed through the main cabin as our vessel rattled. What was that? I squeaked, my bravery momentarily lost amidst the claustrophobic scene. No worries, Dovetail replied as the lights finally came back on. A minor navigational error. Nothing more. What kind of error? Enzo demanded, leaning forward once again with renewed scrutiny, glaring dead on at Dovetail's representation. Unimportant, our benefactor began before being immediately interrupted by Enzo. Like hell it's unimportant, he spat back at our benefactor. What's out there? Dovetail paused again. I hated when they paused, if only because it caused the illusion of our benefactor's infallibility to waver. Things the Council does not understand, they concluded ominously. Could you stop being vague for like 5 seconds? Enzo pleaded, his tone razor-sharp with frustration. I understood, of course. The only reason I did not join him in demanding the truth was that I was still exhausted from the events on Prosure's homeworld. I understand your concerns, replied Dovetail in a diplomatic monotone. Rest assured, however, we are on your side. If you can trust us, then humanity will win its freedom. Seeing his lack of bargaining power in this situation, Enzo finally fell silent, allowing me to speak up in his stead to change the subject. What kind of defenses are we looking at on that convoy? I asked, seeking at least a little bit of elaboration on the plan. Most of the defenses are ship-based, Dovetail informed us. However, there will be 24 guards and a martyr aboard the ship containing our target. God damn it! Enzo groaned, leaning back in his seat and tossing the trinket behind him. Another martyr. Are you serious right now? I am not in a joking mood, our benefactor continued. I have some contacts planetside on Thagwick. They will assist you in carrying out our plan. With careful execution and some frankly well overdue luck, the martyr should never even enter the equation. And what if it does get involved? Asked my fellow stray, crossing his arms over his chest. Do they have any weaknesses at all we can take advantage of? Conventionally? No. Martyrs are designed to be the perfect special operatives. Only the most talented and fanatically loyal sapients are granted the opportunity to undergo the process of becoming one. Is the greatest honor the Council can bestow. They cannot be negotiated with, and a single martyr can empty out an entire insurgent space station in a few hours. So what do we do if this martyr does enter the equation? I asked, doing my best to conceal the mounting anxiety of potentially facing off against one of these things for a third time. Our ship jolted again, not as violently this time, but still enough to make me bite my tongue as it jostled me up and down. "Trust me," was all our benefactor had to say in response to my concerns, and with my tongue newly injured, I had lost the desire to continue speaking. Our conversation died down after a few more minutes of back and forth between Enzo and Dovetail. The exact details quickly grew fuzzy as I once again began to fall asleep. However, there was no rest to be found within my dreams. First, I was back in my hometown's library on Earth, my small fingers desperately typing and scrolling through the Archeron's law education website. It made no sense to me, and all the while I could feel pieces of myself slipping away, but even still I continued on trying. After that, the dream skipped forward a few months, where I saw myself entering Proshure's manor for the first time, holding Mr. Doty with one arm and my new master's hand with the other. Then time seemed to rewind again, to the night me and my mother watched Dad jump. His final words repeated again and again in my mind. "Subspace isn't empty. They're watching us. Subspace isn't empty. They're watching us." Then I was home, or at least somewhere resembling home. In my bedroom at my mom's house, I opened the door and found a hallway I didn't recognize. At the end of this hallway, I opened another door and found myself light years away, standing in Proshure's living room as he sat on the couch attending a virtual conference. With every door I traversed, I could swear I was being followed by something. Shapes loomed outside windows out of the corner of my eye before disappearing when I looked at them dead on. Light footsteps echoed behind me, only to reveal nothing when I turned around to check. No matter how fast I ran, the presence was always right there, watching me. For the first time as I navigated through the non-Euclidean space, I understood my father's words.